Follower reached out asking if I would be interested in receiving a wedding dress from 1955. And as I often do when folks reach out wanting to donate a dress, I let them know it's going to be less expensive to ship it in a smaller box. But she said it had been saved in its original preservation box, and so she just wanted to send it that way. It had never been opened. So this is my first time. I've had wedding dresses in the past that were in these, storage boxes, but not one ever that was completely sealed in plastic. And you'll see in the video why that is an important factor. So the veil here was worn, the dress itself was worn twice. Joanne, the daughter, wore it again in 1981. She did wear a different headpiece, and that was what you just saw there. So finally, after 3 boxes and a lot of, form supports and tissue paper and whatnot, and actually there was wire ties holding everything in, I'd get the dress out. And look there was a cute little padded heart with a blue ribbon on it. And the dress is from Marshall Field, which is where Grace worked back in the day. Look at this beautiful photo of Grace in 1955. And a beautiful photo of Joanne wearing it again in 1981. I love it that it was worn by 2 generations. So prior to opening this dress, I was actually thinking that it was going to be in really good shape. And once I started looking at the lace, I could not believe how many breaks and tears there were throughout the whole dress. So I reached out to Joanne and asked her if it was like that when she wore it. And she said there was only 1 tear in the lace towards the bottom of the hem. So that got me to thinking that it must have been something in the quote-unquote preservation and cleaning process that made this damage happen. So I did some research and I learned that back in the 80s, they used to think that oxygen was the detriment to garments like this. And so that's why the vacuum sealing was done. And that, of course, is not anything that is done anymore. So I also thought I would take it a step further and test the all the packaging, the boxes, the tissue paper, the bust support, etc., and every single piece. And this is a really cool pen, by the way. I got it for like $10 off of eBay. Every single piece tested that it was not acid-free. Here, just to compare, was one I got from Michael's, this box, that is labeled as acid-free, and sure enough, there's purple, so it's acid-free. So that was really interesting. And I'm having to learn more about the whole thing, how things used to be done, but this is just definitely a pretty good example of what not to do. So it just makes me sad because they were obviously doing what they thought was, the best thing for the dress. It's what they were told, and all the packaging says it's, approved and the best and whatnot. And it's just amazing to me how different things are now. But anyway, so the dress itself had these iron-on kind of patches because the dress was just a little too small for Joanne, so that's how they altered it in order for her to wear it for the wedding. So I wanted to revert that back, and I was able to remove those iron-on patches, which were almost falling off anyway. And then I re-sewed that back. And then there was a mismatched button, and so then I replaced it with the matching one. This label kind of drop point from the front waist also had weights in it, which I did not want to keep in the dress, so I took those out. So all those pearls were dark, so I started removing them. They're tiny little pearls. And after I removed a bunch of them, I got to thinking, well, actually, why don't I try to perk them up with some peroxide? I did that with success on another dress, so I thought, let's experiment on the underarm. So I took my 12% peroxide and I just did 1 application. And you can almost see it like working immediately. And then let it dry. And then look at that. It worked great. So I thought, well, let's do just that upper part of the dress. So I'd already removed the pearls from the bottom part of the bodice. So again, I just did 1 spray application. I didn't even let it dry all the way because it kind of started working immediately. So you don't have to, from my understanding, it doesn't need to be rinsed off because it basically turns into oxygen and water. But I did rinse it off because I was able to rinse it off. So I just did a rinse on that where I had sprayed the peroxide. And the good news is the pearls brightened up The bad news is they are falling off. So I have a bunch of little pearls rolling around my floor all throughout the house. So I think the thread holding onto it, it just was too much for that vacuum sealing. And then also probably the peroxide was too much for it. The sequins held up better, but the pearls are popping off. So I did a little perk up on that headpiece veil with some steaming. And then I couldn't possibly repair all of the damage to the lace, but I definitely took care of the worst areas with a combination of hand stitching, which you just get a matching thread and then kind of create little thread bridges, so to speak, going back and forth into the more kind of substantial parts of the lace. On this really bad area here, I did some hand stitching, and then I did a machine I just made a seam just to kind of keep everything together. And that, of course, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better. And your eye just isn't going to that big hole. So here it is. This was just, like I said, so interesting to learn about how cleaning wedding dresses has changed so much since the 80s. And I guess cleaning and preserving wedding dresses actually kind of goes back, of course, farther than that. But this was really interesting to learn, and I'm really glad I have this pH testing pen now because I think that'll come in handy in the future. But look at this pretty dress. I want so badly for somebody to wear this one more time for a wedding. So even with her issues, I think it is still so beautiful 70 years later.